And that's why, tonight, for the first time ever, congregations around the world are celebrating a Solidarity Shabbat. It's a chance for leaders to publicly stand against anti-Semitism and bigotry in all of its forms. And I'm proud to be a part of this movement. And I'm proud that 6 ambassadors from Europe are joining us today. And their presence here, our presence together, is a reminder that we are not doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. Our traditions. Our history can help us chart a better course as long as we are mindful of that history and those traditions. And we are vigilant in speaking out and standing up against what is wrong. It's not always easy, I think, to speak out against what is wrong, even for good people. So I want to close with the story of one more of the many rabbis who came to Selma 50 years ago. A few days after David Teitelbaum arrived to join the protests, he and a colleague were thrown in jail. And they spent a Friday night in custody, singing Adon Olam to the tune of We Shall Overcome. And that in and of itself is a profound statement of faith and hope. But what's wonderful is that out of respect many of their fellow protesters began wearing what they called freedom caps, yarmulkes, as they marched. And the day after they were released from prison, Rabbi Teitelbaum watched Dr. King lead a prayer meeting before crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And Dr. King said, "We are like the children of Israel, marching from slavery to freedom." That's what happens when we're true to our values. It's not just good for us, but it brings the community together. Tikkun Olam, it brings the community together and it helps repair the world. It bridges differences that once looked unbridgeable. It creates a future for our children that once seemed unattainable. This congregation Jewish American life is a testimony to the capacity to make our values live. But it requires courage. It requires strength. It requires that we speak the truth not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. So may we always remember that our shared heritage makes us stronger, that our roots are intertwined. May we always choose faith over nihilism, and courage over despair, and hope over cynicism and fear. As we walk our own leg of a timeless, sacred march. May we always stand together, here at home and around the world. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Barack Obama. Joe Biden Medal of Freedom Presentation Address. Delivered January 12, 2017, White House, Washington, D. C. Hey. All right, that's enough. Don't want to embarrass the guy. Welcome to the White House, everybody. As I have already delivered my farewell address, I will try to be relatively brief. But I just wanted to get some folks together to pay tribute to somebody who has not only been by my side for the duration of this amazing journey, but somebody who has devoted his entire professional life to service to this country. The best vice president America has ever had, Mr. Joe Biden. This also gives the internet one last chance to talk about our bromance. This has been quite a ride. It was 8.5 years ago that I chose Joe to be my vice president. There has not been a single moment since that time that I've doubted the wisdom of that decision. He was the best possible choice, not just for me, but for the American people. This is an extraordinary man with an extraordinary career in public service. This is somebody the people of Delaware sent to the Senate as quickly as they possibly could. Elected at age 29, for more than a dozen years apiece he served as chair or ranking member of the Judiciary and Foreign Relation Committees. Domestically, he championed landmark legislation to make our communities safer. To protect our women from violence. Internationally, his wisdom and capacity to build relationships that shaped our nation's response. To the fall of the Berlin Wall and the Iron Curtain, to counter-terrorism, Iraq, Afghanistan. And for the past 8 years. He could not have been a more devoted or effective partner in the progress that we've made. He fought to make college more affordable and revitalize American manufacturing as the head of our middle-class task force. He suited up for our cancer moonshot, giving hope to millions of Americans touched by this disease. He led our efforts to combat gun violence. and he rooted out any possible misappropriations that might have occurred. And as a consequence, the Recovery Act worked as well as just about. Any large-scale stimulus project has ever worked in this country. He visited college after college and made friends with lady. Gaga for our It's On Us campaign against campus sexual assault. And when the Pope visited, Joe was even kind enough to let me talk to His Holiness, as well. Behind the scenes, Joe's candid, honest counsel has made me a better president and a better commander-in-chief. From the Situation Room to our weekly lunches, to our huddles after everybody else has cleared out of the room. He's been unafraid to give it to me straight, even if we disagree, in fact, especially if we disagree. And all of this makes him, I believe, the finest vice president we have ever seen. And I also think he has been a lion of American history. The best part is he's nowhere close to finished. In the years ahead, as a citizen, he will continue to build on that legacy, internationally and domestically. He's got a voice of vision and reason and optimism, and a love for people. And we're going to need that spirit and that vision as we continue to try to make our world safer and to make sure that everybody has got a fair shot in this country. So, all told, that's a pretty remarkable legacy. An amazing career in public service. It is, as Joe once said, a big deal. It is. But we all know that, on its own, his work, this list of accomplishments, the amazing resume. does not capture the full measure of Joe Biden. I have not mentioned Amtrak yet or aviators. Literally. Folks don't just feel like they know Joe the politician, they feel like they know the person what makes him laugh. What he believes, what he cares about, and where he came from. Pretty much every time he speaks. He treats us to some wisdom from the nuns who taught him in grade school or from an old Senate colleague. But, of course, more frequently cited Catherine and Joseph, Sr. His mom and dad, no one's better than you, but you're better than nobody. Bravery resides in every heart, and yours is fierce and clear. And when you get knocked down, Joey, get up, get up. Get up. That's where he got those broad shoulders. That's where he got that Biden heart. And through his life, through trial after trial, he has never once forgotten the values and the moral fiber that made him who he is. That's what steals his faith in God, and in America, and in his friends, and in all of us. When Joe talks to auto workers whose livelihoods he helped save, we hear the son of a man who once knew the pain of having to tell his kids that he had lost his job. When Joe talks about hope and opportunity for our children, we hear the father who rode the rails home every night so that he could be there to tuck his kids into bed. When Joe sticks up for the little guy, we hear the young boy who used to stand in front of the mirror. Reciting Yeats or Emerson, studying the muscles in his face, determined to vanquish a debilitating stutter. And when Joe talks to Gold Star families who have lost a hero, we hear a kindred spirit. Another father of an American veteran, somebody whose faith has been tested. And who has been forced to wander through the darkness himself, and who knows who to lean on to find the light. So that's Joe Biden, a resilient and loyal and humble servant, and a patriot. But most of all, a family man. Starts with Jill, captain of the Vice Squad. Only the second lady in our history to keep her regular day job. Jill says, teaching isn't what she does, it's who she is. A few days after Joe and I were inaugurated in 2009, she was back in the classroom teaching. That's why when our administration worked to strengthen community colleges, we looked to Jill to lead the way. She's also traveled the world to boost education and empowerment for women. And as a Blue Star mom, her work with Michelle to honor our military families will go. Down in history as one of the most lasting and powerful efforts of this administration. Of course, like Joe, Jill's work is only part of the story. She just seems to walk this earth so lightly, spreads her joy so freely. And she reminds us that although we're in a serious business, we don't have to take ourselves too seriously. She's quick with a laugh or a practical joke. Disguising herself as a server at a party she once hosted to liven the mood. She once hid in the overhead compartment of Air Force Two to scare the senior. Staff. Because why not? She seems to have a sixth sense of when to send a note of. Encouragement to a friend or a staffer, a simple thank you or a box of macaroons.